I'm going to ask Dr. Victor to speak on the problems with, similar to this, in line with this, our culture and how it prevents people from talking about abuse and domestic violence, even just admitting that we're lonely, especially when we're new immigrants and we've left our communities at home and we're coming to this country and we're dealing with something as simple as loneliness and how that adds to mental health problems. How, as a community, do we deal with that challenge of overcoming that idea that talking about our feelings or domestic violence or child abuse is taboo, and it's something that, should be kept quiet? We can't hear you yet. Just go ahead and click that and you can unmute yourself. Yes, we can hear you.
I am so sorry. I keep forgetting to do that. Well, thank you for the question. But before I had raised my hand when Dr. Glover was talking. I wanted to also, she mentioned a couple of times about medication. And when you asked her about the young people, it's not just young people anyway. There's several people that skeptical about medication, psychotropic medications. And I see that quite a few people may be struggling with mental illness, and they start taking the medication, but because some of those medications have, quite a few of them have some not so good side effects. And so they stop taking their medication. And that's a challenge. We see quite a few people on the streets, believe it or not. Some of the homeless people that you see on the fall into that category, that they have mental illness, but they've stopped taking their medication. And so that has really robbed them of the kind of life that they could really lead. But so if Dr. Glover has time to go back to answer some of the questions in terms of how medications, because I don't know much about medications, you can tell us about that in terms of what are some of the things we can do, or what do they have stuff to counter the side effects of those medications where people don't want to use them because of that. You asked about domestic violence and well, domestic violence, from my understanding.
Cultural.
Yeah, and specifically just the culture that, prevents us from speaking out. I mean, yes, when it comes to even after someone has come out of that, the culture that prevents them from opening up and speaking up about this. And with children, child abuse, being uncomfortable with putting that label on their parents. How do we deal with that as a community to say these are things that should not be taboo? If you're going through this, you should be able to speak up about them.
Right. Well, thank you for clarifying that. Yes, the cultural aspect of this, I think it has to do with education. I think we've learned certain things from our back home culture, okay? So to say. And some of the things, even, let me speak to the Yoruba culture, because that's the one that I know very well. The Yoruba culture, we even have a saying where we say that you don't air your dirty laundry in public.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk about family outside. As a matter of fact, I remember when my junior brother came to this country for the first time, the first thing she noticed about me, she called me aside. She said, you're talking too much about your family. You shouldn't be saying that. You should be. He pulled me aside and told me that I was too open, that I was talking too much about, that I shouldn't be doing that. So it's something that we've learned. It's something that's in the culture. It's imbibed in the culture, even in the idioms and the proverbs that we use. Is inculcated in all of that. So for us to be able to change that, you're going to need a lot of therapeutic alliance. You're going to need a lot of really uh, forming a lot of a good relationship, you know, what we call rapport, building rapport with the person, because that's the only way that they come to trust you.
Mm.
And to come to trust you so well that you are not going to take their information and publicize it or make it known to other people, that you're going to keep
Yeah,
confidential. They're
exactly.
very big in confidentiality,
Mm.
and being able to keep it within a certain group of people. So if you can do that, I think that we can still reach them, but it's going to take time. These
It,
things take time. It
it
takes
does.
time to be able to build rapport with people, to be able to for them to trust you, that yes, you really truly care about them, and that nothing bad is going to come out of this.
Mm.
So once you convince and once you are able to get people to that level, then it comes
It
easy
becomes
after
easier.
that. Yeah.
That's yeah. Thank you so much. I think that's a valid point that we have trained professionals who value confidentiality.